So anyway, today we are actually doing some small experiment of videotaping this thing. I don't know how useful it is going to be, but hopefully if there are any topics which are little complicated, little difficult to understand, then my goal is to have some videotaping so we can re-listen, reread and do all those things. So that's the only thing that I have. So anyway, I think most of you guys know me. Shekhar Tulsi Bagwal is my name, and we're going to talk about Oracle 10G Administration 1 topic. Now, while doing Administration 1 topic, I will be actually going through, maybe I will be moving across from Administration 1 to Administration 2 sometimes for the importance of clarity, and sometimes I will be discussing also about things on 11G. Even though our focus is only 10G, so we'll be kind of jumping across back and forth. So I want to kind of go over the main things that we're gonna do in Administration 1. Administration 1. What are those main topics? Topic number 1 is the architecture of Oracle. The architecture of Oracle is kind of, I would say, extremely complicated. It took me a long time, not in months, probably in years, to understand all intricacies of Oracle architecture, and still even today I find new things every time I read something new. So architecture is kind of complicated, and I will try to make it simple and see how I achieve that goal. So architecture is one thing that we're going to talk about. In the architecture there are a couple of other areas. Number 1 is the what we call as an instance. Oracle instance. Oracle instance is basically memory and the processes. We'll talk about more about that. So this is probably the main focus when we are discussing about the architecture. And then the second thing is actually the database. Database is the disk layout, how the files are laid out and all those things. So these two things we'll discuss in much more detail during the architecture phase. So that is topic number 1. Topic number 2 that we'll go through is actual installation of Oracle. This is the Oracle software installation. I think most of you might have done this thing on a Windows machine and all that stuff. So when you do the Oracle software installation, there is a program called as Oracle Universal Installer, OUI. That is the software which installs the Oracle software, and this software also does some additional things, and those are actually what we call as a database creation. So installation plus database creation, all that stuff will fall under one category. So that is something that we're gonna talk about in the second topic. Then in the third topic we will talk about database creation, and maybe here itself the startup and shutdown process. Startup and shutdown process of the database is kind of very interesting. Sometimes it looks complicated unless and until we kind of understand it. So that is something we will talk about: database creation, startup, shutdown. And then the third topic is the security of the database. In the security of the database, you have already discussed many things, which is like how to grant certain privileges, how to revoke certain privileges. All those things are discussed in the security aspect there. So that is one thing that we'll discuss. And now, since I don't think I can write below this, otherwise it won't be captured, so I will again start writing here. So the next things we're going to talk about after the security, the fourth thing is now we will have listener, which is the network configuration, which is basically nothing but a listener configuration, LISTENER, and we will talk about what a listener is. This is very complicated and one of the basic responsibilities of an Oracle DBA. So that is also a very important topic. And once this is done, we will actually discuss certain other things which are not too complicated. Number 1 is the data pump. Data pump is a tool that Oracle has to take a backup We call it a logical backup, and we will see what is a logical backup, what is a physical backup, all those different things we're going to talk about. But data pump is a tool to take the logical backup. And after that, we are going to talk about a tool called as SQL Loader. This is a very simple tool. This is a tool that Oracle provides you to load the data into Oracle tables. Right now, the only one way we know how to get data into an Oracle table is using the insert command. Now, this is another tool which will allow you to load huge amount of data, and that is the SQL Loader. So these are the main topics that we're going to discuss, and along with this we will be talking about a lot of other small topics, but these are the main areas. I might have missed a couple of small points here and there. This is it. I think during the architecture phase I forgot to mention one thing about the undo management. Undo management is very critical, so I will write it down, but actually that should have been a point under the architecture called as undo. So at a broad level, this is what the topics are. These are the topics. So now we will go with the first topic, and before even I jump into that, I would like to go with a very easy topic which we already know because we have done SQL. So that easy topic is about the security. I'm going to start with the security first. I will go with the installation and database creation a little later. Usually this is not, most of the people will do it, but I'm going to do it that way, hoping that it would be easier for us to understand. So now, when you log into an SQL Plus, okay, you type SQL Plus command, you come inside the SQL Plus prompt, you create a table. You type create table, name of the table is, let us say, A, and in parentheses you type the name of the column, let us say ID, name, and their data types and so on with a comma. So this is typically, we know the syntax of table creation. Now when you create a table, first thing before that you have actually typed at the operating system level. So operating system level, this is my operating system prompt, SQL Plus, and the login ID is, let us say, Shaker, and the password is PASS. So by typing this command at the OS level, you have come inside the SQL Plus prompt, and now at the SQL Plus prompt we are typing the SQL commands. This is the standard way that we have been doing so far. But when you type this command, what exactly happens behind the scenes, that is what I want to discuss today. So when you type that create table A, some space is reserved for that table A inside our database. Some space is reserved for our table A inside the database. And how is that reserved? First thing, before that, now we are going to understand a concept of a database. What is a database in our own mind? We have seen database as something which is collection of tables. That you create a table, I create a table, I create 10 tables. All those clubbed together with the data and everything is a database. That is what our simplest understanding of the database is. Now we will go with a little different notation or different notion of a database from the DBA point of view. What is that notion now? From a DBA point of view, database is nothing but a collection of files. Collection of files, and we call this as data files. So collection of files in which the data is being stored. So your Oracle database actually is a collection of maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different files, and within those 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different files you have your tables. So there are many other databases. For example, if you go to a database called as MySQL. MySQL is an open source database. There each table is stored inside one separate file. So I create a table ABCD, there will be a file called as abcd.dbf for MySQL database. This is not how things are laid out in the architecture of Oracle. So how are they done in Oracle? Oracle DBA guys, they first create, what are the steps? Standard steps is first to install the software. Install software, which we're going to look into later. SOTWAR. We are going to install the Oracle database software. Step number 1. After you install the Oracle database software, step number 2, you create a database. Now, when you create a database, what exactly are we doing? We are creating a bunch of data files. We are creating a bunch of data files. Maybe there are 5 different data files, and the size of each of those data files is, let us say, 500 megabyte each. 5 files each having 500 megabytes each. So what is the meaning of that? That means the size of my database is 2.5 gigabytes. 2.5 gigabyte is the size of my database. And what is inside my database now? Inside my database there are these tables. My table, your table, your table, everybody's tables are inside those data files. So that is what is happening. There is just a set of files in which our data is going, and when I type that command, create table A certain space is allocated for my table A inside this 2.5 gigabytes of disk space that is already allocated for your database. This is what happens when we create a table. So now we will take this concept a little bit to the next level now. So we know now from the DBA point of view, a database is a collection of data files. That is one way of looking at the database. I can also say database is a collection of tables, and those tables are actually sitting inside the data files. So this is one small point that I would like to bring to everybody's attention, that tables are sitting inside the data files. When I create a table, there is a certain space reserved for my table inside that data file, or inside one of those data files. So that's the point to kind of remember. Now that is one view of looking at the database, and that view is called as a physical view. Then there is a logical view, and this is a kind of a confusing topic. Like sometimes I will talk about database in without telling you that it's a collection of tables. The moment I say it's a collection of tables, I am talking about the logical view. When I say it's a collection of data files, I am talking about a physical view. And I will never ever tell you that, okay, sometimes I am talking about the logical concepts, sometimes I am talking about the physical concepts. But you will kind of get used to it, that physical is basically data files, logical is basically tables. So that distinction you will slowly understand. But I will be switching back and forth between sometime the physical concept of a database and the logical concept of a database. In very layman's term, this is not mostly accurate. Physical is something that we can see. I can see the data files. If I type the command ls-l on Unix, or if I type the command dir on Windows, I can see the data files. And that is the physical concept. I can see a data file sitting on the C drive or the D drive. That is a data file. But if I ask you, show me the table, where exactly it is sitting on the hard disk, you won't be able to show me the table, because table is sitting inside the data file. You cannot identify that this part of that data file is my table. It is spread across the data files, and therefore it is very difficult to figure out where exactly your table is. And that's why we kind of, that is my definition of considering it as a logical from our understanding point of view. But physical is anytime I talk about data files. Now we are going to today focus on the logical concept. Now, as I said, a database is something, this is bigger circle now, this is my database. Now the name of my database is Focus1. I think all of us, we are working on that database Focus1. When you log into a database, you are doing one thing, which is or maybe you are not doing that thing. Proceed. You should be typing at the Unix prompt a command called as export oracle _sid is equal to focus1. What is this oracle _sid? It is a special Unix variable. Export is a Unix command which will assign a value to a Unix variable. So export is a special Unix command which will assign a value to a variable. So focus1 is a value that has been assigned to an oracle SID. This is in uppercase. Now what is so special about this variable? This special variable is used by many Oracle programs. For example, the SQL Plus program. SQL Plus program is designed in such a way that it will go and read the value of this variable oracle SID, and then it will know that I would like to connect to the database Focus1. If this value is by mistake typed something different, then in that situation SQL Plus command, which you will type immediately after the export command, will try to connect to a database called as Focus2. And if there is no database called as Focus2, you will get an error message, Oracle is unavailable. So that is something that you must have seen many times if we do not type this thing correctly. So how is this whole thing laid out now? We have a machine, whether this is a Windows machine or a Unix machine, I don't care. In our case it is a Linux machine. It is a Red Hat RHEL version 6. We are using RHEL 6 version. What is the IP address of this machine? I think 172.24. What is the IP?
8.43.
8.43, Okay, I think all of you guys are working on different database. 8.240 is something, right? 0.240, okay. 240. So all of you guys are working on different machines. When you log on to this machine, what do you use? You use the login ID password of the Unix prompt. You are given a Unix login ID or the Linux login ID. So using that, you log into this machine using the SSH command, secure shell. Once you are inside this box, on this box there is a database called as Focus1 that has been already created by a DBA. And when I say a database is created, that means there are 4 or 5 different data files sitting somewhere on the hard disk of this machine. Okay, now this is a logical representation of that database Focus1. Now you come inside the Unix prompt here, and now from the Unix prompt you type this command, export Oracle SID is equal to Focus1, and then after that you type the command SQL plus, and then you type the login ID, let us say Shekhar, and slash the password. Now what is happening? That means you are logging into a schema named Shekhar, and schema is basically a logical part inside the database. So Focus1 is a database, and this Shekhar is actually a schema inside the database. If you type something Shekhar1 here, then you are logging into another schema called as Shekhar1. So likewise, we have a database called as Focus, and inside Focus database we have one schema Shekhar, another schema Shekhar1, third schema something else. So there could be thousands of schemas inside one database, literally thousands of schemas, and schema is nothing but a user. Many times I will call it a schema, many times I will call it as a user. So I may very well change the language. I will say that please log into a schema called as Shekhar inside the database Focus1. Sometimes I will say please log into a user called as Shekhar inside database Focus1. So I will use any of the languages in Oracle. This is only for Oracle, not for any other databases like Microsoft SQL Server and all that. That schema means user, user means schema, one and the same thing. Okay, so you log on to the Unix machine, then you type, you set your Oracle SID. That means you are sure that you would like to log into a database called as Focus1, and then you log into a schema inside that Focus1 database, and then you do what? Then you are at the SQL prompt that we saw earlier, SQL prompt, and then you create the table. So let us say that you now create a table. That table A is sitting inside schema Shekhar. If you log in, if you know, Suraj, right?
Yes, sir.
Suraj and Samrat, I make a mistake between your names. If Suraj logs in into his own schema and he creates a table A, okay, it may have different tables, different columns, different data types, but the table name is same, that is allowed, because this is in my schema, this is in your schema. Tables are different. Even if you create a table with the same ID, same name, everything the same, it is still a different table. This is in my schema, that is in your schema. Now when you say select star from a table A, so select star from A, you are going to see your own data. If I log in and if I say select star from table A, I will see my data. This is how the schemas are separated from each other, but they are all inside one database. This is one concept. Now on this Unix machine 172.24.0.240, there could be another Oracle database which could be running. So let us say this is another Oracle database, huge thing. This is now called as Focus2, and inside that Focus2 there could be another Shekhar, there could be another Suraj, there could be another Manav. All those would be users inside this. And if I would like to connect to a Shekhar user inside Focus2, how should I do it? At the Unix prompt I should type this as 2, and then I should say SQL plus Shekhar and the password of Shekhar user inside the Focus2 database. This password could be totally different than this password. They have nothing in common. Focus1 database and Focus2 database have nothing in common. There would be 5 different data files for Focus1. There could be 5 different data files for Focus2. So this is how the logical concept of a database is. Database is running inside a Unix machine or a Windows machine. One or multiple databases can run within one Unix machine or one Windows machine, and within one database we can have multiple schemas, and within one schema you can have multiple objects. Okay, and how many objects are there in your own schema? How do you find that out? Let us say you are logged into Focus1 database and Shekhar schema. How many objects have been created so far in the shaker schema? How do you find that out? Select star from tab, T-A-B. If you do select star from tab, you will see all the tables that are inside shaker. But you must be logged in as shaker. If you execute the same select statement, select star from tab, but you are logged in as Swaraj, you will see all the tables that are owned by Swaraj. This is an important point. When you are typing the same select statement, why are you getting, is it too cold?
Yeah.
Okay. I will give this control in your hand. When it's too cold, just turn it off. And otherwise it will become hot very quickly. Anyway, just press something in the middle. Yeah.
No, it will get off.
Yeah, you want to, let me show. Yeah.
Make it 28.
Make it 28. You are right below that. Okay, it will start. So this is the whole idea about a concept of a database and a concept of a schema and what is inside the schema. So now we will take this concept to the next level. So now after this discussion, you should be very much clear about which database you are logging in. Many times in your Unix environment, when you log on to your Unix machine, I don't think you are executing this command. Export Oracle SID is equal to focus1. You probably are not. And why are you not executing that command? Because it is getting already executed when you log in. How does that happen? Let me explain that to you. Now this requires some knowledge of Unix now. This command we don't execute, and still you are suddenly executing a command SQL plus and the username and slash and the password. How come you are getting logged in into the focus1 database? And that is because in any Unix account, when you log in, there is one special file called as .bash_profile. This is a special file sitting inside your home directory. Home directory is represented by this tilde. So this is your home directory. Everybody has a separate home directory. So if I am logged in as user shaker on the Unix machine, so always distinguish between the Unix account and the Oracle account. The Unix user and the Oracle user. The Unix user and the Oracle schema. Those are separate things. They have nothing in common there. So now I am talking about a Unix user. When you log on to a Unix account, you have a home directory assigned to you by the system administrator. Inside that home directory, there is a special file for everybody. Everybody has a different file called as .bash profile. In that .bash profile, our DBAs here, they have set up those things in such a way that this command export oracle _SID is equal to focus1 will be automatically executed. So this file, what I forgot to tell you, this file gets automatically executed when you log in. All the commands in this file, they get automatically executed, and one of the commands is this export oracle SID is equal to focus1, and that is why you are able to log into the database focus1. If this is not in that .bash profile, in fact I would recommend that open up your .bash profile file and then get rid of this line. And once you get rid of this line, log out and again log back in. In that situation, you will not be able to suddenly type the SQL plus command and go inside the focus1 database. How do you check now? Another Unix command now. How do you check whether your Oracle SID is properly set or not? The Unix command is echo and then the $sign and the variable name. Okay, so echo $oracle _SID. If you type this thing, it will show you either focus1 or focus2, and depending on what the value is, you will know that yes, the value has been set for that variable. If you don't see anything, that means this command has not been executed so far.
We have one more command to change the database from Unix user ID. If we put dot space dot then profile, if we show all the databases connected to your machine, then you can choose which one you want to
say that one more time. Dot space
dot profile.
Dot profile.
Yeah.
No, I will tell you what this is. Okay, this is little different. This is just like there is a .bash profile file, which is a special file. There is a file called as a .profile also, which also gets executed when you connect to a Unix account. And these are two separate accounts. This is when your login shell is bash. This is when your login shell is K shell. Okay, these are different. When your login shell is K shell, are you on IBM AIX system?
Yeah, right.
Okay, IBM AIX, their default shell is K shell. Linux default shell is bash, and you are correct actually there. that when you are logged into your account, this file gets executed, and in this file, if this command is set, same thing. But you made one statement that you will see list of all the databases that you can connect to. No, that is not correct, because you can connect to only one database at a time.
No, we can connect only one database, but we can get the list of databases.
See, in that file, I think your DBA has set up things in such a way that you will see all those things. That is just a text file. You can write whatever you want in that file. So it has been set up in such a way in your environment that it will show you all the databases, I guess. Otherwise, by default, that is not set up. So just like here in Focus's environment, our DBA has set up this command in your .bash profile. And because of that, you are able to log in. In your environment, I think those things have been listed out there, and that's why you are able to see it. But the main point is this command has to be executed. Now again, another point here is, at a time you can connect to only one database and not two databases. So let us say you have two databases running on your machine, Focus 1 and Focus 2. And you would like to see whether, how many rows are there in Shaker schema of Focus 1. And at the same time, you would like to compare that with the Shaker schema in Focus 2. But now I just said that you cannot log into two databases at the same time. So how do you resolve this thing? You open two different windows. And then in one window you execute the command export Oracle SID is equal to Focus 1, and then you connect to the database, which is Focus 1. In another window you execute the command export Oracle SID is equal to Focus 2, and then you connect to the second database. So from two different windows you can connect, and therefore this is a variable. This variable will be wiped out the moment you close the window. So the values would be gone. So this is a little bit of the Unix side. Here we are using bash as the default, and as he mentioned, as Manu mentioned, this is on the AIX system. All the IBM AIX system, their login shell is K shell.
K for kernel.
K for Kerala, yeah. K for corn shell, yeah. Kerala, yeah. That is correct. So now I want to get into, with this knowledge, I want to get into the zone of security. So how does the security work here? And before even security, I want to talk about a topic of data dictionary. By the way, any questions so far? You should be able to now log into a database. You should know which database you are logging into, and then with the login ID password you should be able to figure out what tables are are created in my own schema. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about data dictionary now. What is data dictionary? Data dictionary is a set of tables and set of views. Maybe the views are created on those tables. It is those set of views, I'm going to talk mostly about the views, which are very useful to us as a DBA because they contain some valuable information about your database, about your schema, about your objects. A lot of information is kept inside those data dictionary views. So basically data dictionary is a set of views which contain, I would say, metadata. What is metadata? Metadata is data about data.
Raw data.
Not raw data. Metadata. What is that?
Use data.
It's not huge data. It's the information, or maybe instead of metadata, I should say information about your database. About your database. Now, what is that information? That is something we already know. So these are the views, and I'm going to talk about that information. For example, number one, when was your database created? That is the information, piece of information that a DBA would like to know. Was it created 2 days ago or was it created 2 years ago? So there is a view called as $database. And inside this view there is a column called as created. In that column you will find out the date and timestamp of the database, or when the database was created. So this is one piece of information. Okay, Second piece of information that you would like to know, as you said, how many tables are there in my own schema. So now I am logged into one schema in that one database, focus one. Now about information about that schema. What kind of information about that schema that I would like to know? I would like to know information about all the tables. How many tables are there, what are their names, and so on and so on. When the table was created, all that information. Then I would like to know all the views that were created in my schema. I'm talking only about the schema, not about the database. So I'm logged into one specific schema, and then how many views are created so far, how many tables are created so far, how many sequences are created so far, how many, what should I say now, procedures are created so far, how many functions are created so far. These are all PLSQL objects. Anything else that you can, what are the different objects in database? Tables are objects, views are objects, sequences are objects, functions, procedures, packages. Packages are also objects. So these three, these functions, procedures, and this, along with another thing called as triggers, these are basically nothing but PLSQL programs. Those are PLSQL programming packages. So people who are studying PLSQL, they would be knowing all the details about these objects. But from our side, tables, views, sequences. Anything else? Synonyms, yes. What is a synonym, by the way?
It's just a name.
It's a name. It's an alias. You are correct. It's a nickname. It's an alias which is pointing to another table. So, for example, I have a table called as my big table, blah blah. A huge name, a very huge name for the table. By the way, table cannot have more than 30 characters in its name, but still, it's a very lengthy name, complicated name to remember. And I always type select star from that table. I have to type a whole lot, and I'm not a kind of a person who would like to type a whole lot. So I would create a synonym for this object, just a nickname, an alias for this object, and I would say create synonym ABCD, which is very simple for me to type, for that whole name. So it's in Unix, it's kind of a link. In Windows, it's kind of a shortcut, shortcut for another big file. So synonym is a very simple concept, and you can create a synonym for any of the objects which are here, procedures, functions, and all that stuff. Nickname for any of those things. Any other things that you can think of in the database which are objects? Indexes. We will talk a whole lot about indexes little later. These are certain things. Then I would also write some additional objects which are clusters. We will not talk a whole lot about clusters, but cluster is also another object. A collection of tables is a cluster there. From the performance tuning point of view, you may have to use clusters sometimes. And there are quite a few other things, but I think this is enough right now. These are different objects inside a specific schema. When I go in and I type the command create cluster, create table, create synonym, create this, create that, so all those are objects. So anytime you type a command create, you are creating an object. Anytime you type a command alter, you are modifying that object, and anytime you type a command drop, you are dropping a database object. So information about all these objects is stored inside data dictionary views, and we as a good DBA should memorize these data dictionary views. The more data dictionary views you remember, the better DBA you are. So I would suggest at the last page, or maybe some special page in your book, you write down the list of all these views which I'm going to write here. Number one is user underscore tables. So if I type the command select star from user underscore tables, okay, again let me repeat that we are logged into the focus one database, and inside that database we are logged into a schema called as shaker, and then I type the command select star from user underscore tables. What will I see? All the tables that are created so far in that schema shaker. If I create one more table and again type select star from user underscore tables, I will see that table also. So everything that has been created so far in that schema will be displayed here. Then user underscore views, information about all the views. User underscore sequences, user underscore synonyms, indexes, then constraints. Constraints is really not an object, okay, but there is a data dictionary view called as user underscore constraints, which will give you a list of all the constraints that are created so far on your tables, because constraints are usually on the tables. So whether it's a primary key constraint, a foreign key constraint, a check constraint, a not null constraint, what are the different types of constraints? A primary key, a foreign key, a check constraint, a not null constraint. There is no null constraint. Null is not a constraint. Unique. Not null is a constraint. Unique, yeah. Not null is a constraint. All those different types, unique also, all those different types are constraints. So which table has which constraints, that information is stored inside user underscore constraints. What else do you think? User underscore indexes is there, clusters, user underscore functions, similarly user underscore procedures, user underscore triggers. All these are user underscore. This is a very important point to remember. It is all user underscore. Because user underscore means show things in your own schema. If I'm logged in as Swaraj and execute select star from user underscore functions, I will see all the functions that have been created by Swaraj in his own schema. So this is the data dictionary view or data dictionary views for your schema. But I am a DBA, I am a user who should be able to see everything in everybody's schema. I am a powerful user, let us say. So how do I find out the table that is created by Swaraj, table that is created by Shekhar, table that is created by Manu, everybody? How do I find that out? There has to be some other data dictionary view which is going to give you that information, and that data dictionary view is DBA underscore. The moment I say select star from DBA underscore tables, I will see my tables, his tables, everybody's tables, all schemas clubbed together. Those will be the tables inside DBA underscore tables. Similarly, DBA underscore views, DBA underscore sequences, synonyms, and so on and so on. So for every data dictionary view, user underscore, there is a corresponding DBA underscore data dictionary view also. And that will give you the information at the database level. Now, all the information, when I say all the information, that means the columns which are there in user underscore tables and the columns which are there in DB underscore tables, they are exactly the same. That means the name of the table, when the table was created, and so on and so on. Except one column is extra, and that extra column is the owner. Owner, that means who has created this table. So for example, in the owner, I say, here's how it will work. I'm talking about DB underscore tables. In DB underscore tables, there is a column called as owner, and then there is a table name, and then there is a when the table was created, and so on and so on. So in owner you will see Shekhar, which is the name of the schema, table is A, and when it was created, all that stuff. Here you will see now Manav. Again, maybe he has created table B and the date on which the table was created and a lot of other information. In fact, there are almost 30-40 different columns in this table. And maybe again, Shekhar and table B. And when that was created, as you can see, table B is created by Shekhar as well as Manav, but those are different tables, one in this schema, one in this schema. That is what the DB underscore tables are. Similarly, you will have DB underscore views and sequences and synonyms and all that stuff. So now, I want to ask you a simple SQL question now. Tell me how many tables are created by user Shekhar. I want the total number of tables. How many tables are created by user Shekhar?
Count star from the username.
From
Okay, now that's what I want to give you. You are correct on the count star. So tell me the full select statement. Select count star from temp. Tab. But tab, we did not discuss tab, man. We keep that tab thing aside. There is tab is different.
No, user underscore tables.
User underscore.
Username equal to
See, one thing is when you are selecting from user underscore tables, you will get what? Only those tables that are created by your own schema. So let us say I am logged in as user. Okay, we are trying to find out for Shekhar, right? I am logged in as you. Okay, not me. I am logged in as you, and if I execute this command, what will I see?
My tables.
Your tables. But you want to see my tables now.
I can,
Then I
DB underscore table where username.
So you have two choices. You have two choices. Number one is DB underscore tables, where
Owner equals to
owner is equal to Shekhar. Correct? This is absolutely correct. Is there any other way? Yes, there is another way. You log in as user Shekhar. You log in as user Shekhar and just type the command select count star from user underscore tables and semicolons. You don't have to type this part.
Then we need password.
Then you need the password. Yes. So usually the best way is to do this without the password. You are logged in as Suraj and you can find out Shekhar's table, you can find his tables and everything else. Obviously not every user will have access to select from DBA underscore. Not every user will have access. By default you don't have access. Then you will need to get a special privilege. Then only you can select from the DB underscore tables, DB underscore views, DB underscore sequences and synonyms and so on and so on. Permissions are there. So this is the difference between the DBA underscore views, data dictionary views. These are again data dictionary views, and the user underscore data dictionary views. Fundamental difference. DB underscore will give you everything under the database, and user underscore will give you everything under the schema inside that database. So that is the main difference there. Now with this knowledge of data dictionary, this is what data dictionary is. Data dictionary is set of views. We have seen so far user underscore so many and DB underscore so many. These are all data dictionary views. Now we will jump to the topic of security. Okay, what is the topic of security now? This is our database. This is a database focus 1. Okay, I am not drawing the diagram for the Unix machine or the Windows machine, but now we are inside Windows machine or inside Unix machine, and then we are inside the focus database. This is, let us say, user A. This is, let us say, user B, and this is, okay, I will say user A, user B, and user C. User means schema. So there are 3 users created inside a database called as focus 1. We will see how to create the users little later. But let us say DB has created these 3 users, and user A logs in and he creates a table called as P, then Q and R. User B logs in, he creates a table X, Y and Z, and user C creates a table, let's say P, X and K. Okay, now let us see whether I can explain this thing. These are the tables created by user A, these are the tables created by user B, and these are the tables created by user C. So now this is our database. So now if I say select count star, okay, now by the way, I am logged in as user A now. If I say select count star from user underscore tables, what should I get? How many counts should I get? 3. Okay, one for this, another for this, another for this. I'm logged in as user A and I say select count star from DBA underscore tables. What will I get?
9.
I will get 9, provided I have access to the DBA underscore tables. That we will not discuss right now. But yes, I will see 9 tables there. Now this is understood. Now user A wants to select from a table called as Y, which is in somebody else's schema. Can he do that?
Yes.
He can do that, and how would he do it? He will type something like this: select star from the name of the table. He would say, he means user A will say B dot Y and a semicolon. He would be able to say B dot Y, and then he will be selecting data, all the data from obviously Y. But this will not work unless and until he has access to that table Y. So how does he get access to that table Y? The access is given by the owner of the table. So the owner of the table logs in now. First thing actually, Before even this is executed, the owner of the table logs in, which is user B, and he executes the command grant. Okay, I'm going to type the command grant here somewhere so that you can see it. User B is typing the command now, okay, at the SQL prompt. Grant select on Y to A. Okay, I'm going to underline this, this and this. Okay, and he will put the semicolon there. Grant select on Y to A. So what is he granting? He is granting a privilege. Okay, so this is a privilege, P-R-I-V. On certain object, this is an object. And finally it is the user or a schema. So these are the three important things. Number one is the privilege, number two is the object, and number three is the user. This command has to be executed by user B. Will be executed by user B, and then only after that user A will be able to execute this command. Then only he will get that access. Little variation on this command. Instead of select, I can say delete. The moment I say delete, that means user A can now delete from my table also. A dangerous privilege to give to anybody. Don't give a delete privilege on your table to somebody else unless you want him to delete the rows. You can give. So what are the different privileges that you can give on a specific object? You can give insert, update, delete, select. All these four are there, and there are certain other ones. Or very easily you can say type all. When you type all, it means insert, update, delete, select, and there are certain other privileges called as references, indexes, and all that stuff. We will not go into the details of those, but all those privileges will be directly given to user A on object Y. Now if you want to, don't give it to just user A, you want to give it to everybody. You want to give it to user C also, B also, maybe other 10 users are there. You can just type the word public. The moment you type the word public, you will be giving all privileges, insert, update, delete, select, and many, on the object Y to everybody in your database. This is very important. Everybody in your database only. You have nothing to do with another database, Focus 2. This is only Focus 1 database. So this is the type of privilege this guy will be executing. Then only after that, user B, and maybe now user C also, because you have granted it to public, can type select star from B.Y. Okay, now this is now clear. This is a clear concept. Now I will just deviate from our security and talk about synonyms. I think we have talked about synonyms. User A is very lazy. He doesn't like to type B.Y every time. He would like to say, no, I would like to just type select star from Y. So, but Y table does not belong to him. It actually is owned by owner B. Can user A say this? The answer is yes, provided he creates a synonym. Provided he creates a synonym. And now how do we create a synonym? Like this. So user B now, user A now, user A is going to type at the SQL prompt a command called as create synonym. Name of the synonym, he is going to keep it as Y only. Okay, and then he is going to type for B, this is A, B.Y. So that means he is creating a shortcut, a nickname, an alias, whatever you want to call it, for a object called as B.Y. From this point onward, this is just a synonym which is pointing to this. It is not a real object. It is a synonym, and if now this user logs in and says select star from user underscore synonyms, he will see an entry for Y, because it is his own synonym. So this is what a synonym is now. Okay, so we have seen that how can one user access data from another schema, how can one schema access data from another schema, and to make it easier you can create a synonym. Synonyms are not a must. but many DBAs like to create synonym because developers don't know too much about synonyms. If you just create a synonym Y and give this access, give you access to user A, user will keep on thinking that I have a table Y. He will not go into the details of finding out whether it's a synonym or it's a table. He will keep on thinking that it's a table Y and I have access to it. So to make it easier for the developer, to make it easier for a user, DBAs many times go and create a synonym. And DBAs will have to go and create a synonym for each and every user. So what DBAs do, DBAs are nothing but special users with special privileges. So C user can be a DBA, and we'll see that later. C user can be a DBA. Assuming that he is a DBA, that means he has some special privileges. He will type this command, create public synonym Y for b.y. For b.y. So he adds a word public, and the public word can be added only by that special privileged user who is a DBA. That means DBA user means what? C is a DBA user, that means he has some special privileges to execute these commands. Okay, so this is a public synonym now. And now since it is a public synonym, it is available to this guy, this guy, this guy, anybody else. Anybody can now say select star from Y. Now you probably should ask me a question like, what if this guy has a table Y and now there is a public synonym also called as a Y? Where are you going to select the data from? Obviously your own table will take the precedence over the synonym. Okay, so that means there is a table called as Y here, and C user says select star from Y. He will be selecting from this Y and not this Y. This is something that should be understood. The precedence, that means the first preference is given to the local table in your own schema, and then to the public, then to the outside schema.
It means synonym must be unique.
If it is a public synonym, it has to be unique. Yes. But you can have another private synonym of your own. Yeah.
Sir, can you please again that last? Last public one.
The public synonym.
Yes.
The DBA, a privileged user, DBA is a privileged user, it could be either A or B or C, will come and execute this command. And when he executes this command, that means a synonym called as Y is created for everybody. A or B or C or D, how many users are there, the synonym is created for them. So every user doesn't have to create their own synonyms. Those are private synonyms, as opposed to a public synonym created by a DBA. Now, I wanted to kind of get one question answered after all this discussion, and I'm coming to that question now. My question is, actually that question has not been posed yet. This is your again database focus 1, and now inside that there is a schema A, there is a schema B, and there is a schema C. Tables are what? PQR, X, Y, Z, and here what? I forgot. Help me out. PXK. Oh, okay. So these are the tables that are created, and now we have seen that user B has given a privilege to select from table Y to a user A. Okay, so user B has executed this command, grant select on my own table, that is Y, to user A. Okay, so the privilege, the object, and the user to which the privilege is granted. By the way, if you want to get rid of the privilege that you have already granted, then you should execute a command revoke. Revoke select from, select on Y from A. So again the privilege, the object, and the, so instead of to, it will be from here. That is the only difference. So you are revoking a select privilege on object Y from user A. So we are not talking about the revoke right now, but since we were on that topic, I just mentioned. So user B has executed this command, and because of that, user A is now able to select data from Y. Now there are certain other data dictionary views apart from user underscore and DB underscore. So we'll talk about user underscore tables and DB underscore tables. There is another category called as all underscore tables. Now what is this all underscore tables? All underscore tables means the list of tables that you have access to. You means now I'm talking about user A. User A has access to. Obviously user A has access to his own tables. He can do select, insert, update from any of the tables that he has created. So the list of list of tables that you yourself have access to, that means you yourself have created, and on top of that, list of tables that you have been given access to which are not owned by you. So in this case, if I say select count star from from all underscore tables, select count star from all underscore tables, I am logged in as user A. I will get one row for P, one row for Q, one row for R, and one row for Y. This is one fundamental difference here, and I kind of always ask this question to everybody, like, do you know about data dictionary views? Yes. What are the three different types of data dictionary views? User underscore, DB underscore, all underscore. What is the difference between a user underscore and a DB underscore? He says, okay, user underscore will show you a list of all the tables in your own schema. DB underscore and all underscore, they will always make a difference between or always make a mistake between this. Many people tell me that all underscore tables means list of all the tables in your database, which is incorrect. So it means that all underscore tables is a list of tables that you own as well as you have access to, which are owned by somebody else. And then DB underscore is actually all the tables. DB underscore is actually all the tables. So this is what we talked about, the security and data dictionary views. So the topic that we started discussing today was security and data dictionary views. So now we know, I would like you to make a list of all the data dictionary views that you have understood so far, and by mistake or if you forget those data dictionary, there is another view named as dictionary, which contains list of all data dictionary views. So if you say select star from dictionary, you will see a whole bunch of data dictionary view names, and then you can say, okay, I have forgotten user underscore tables, whether it's a user underscore table or user underscore tables. I am not able to memorize that. You can go and see it from dictionary.
Sir,
select star from dictionary.
1763 views are there. 1763.
1763. These are, I think, which version of? By the way, number of views will keep on increasing as you go from the lower version to the upper version. And also they will keep on increasing based on the options that you have installed. For example, if you have installed the OLTP option, OLAP option, and spatial context option, there are quite a few options during the installation process. Depending on what you have installed, the total number of views will be much more than this. I believe they are not 1700. Last time I checked, they were close to like 3000. But that number is changing as you change the version of Oracle.
As you are logged in, they are showing that 1763.
Maybe you have access to only 1700 views. Once you log in as a DBA, you will probably have access to a lot more. So now I think I'm going to stop here, but I'm going to kind of conclude with what we are going to do as our practical thing. So we have understood the security and data dictionary to a certain extent now. And what is our exercise now? Actually, we should have created a database for all of us. Everybody should have a database, but I'm going to give you access to one database, and I will give you the access as a DBA. Okay, maybe one user as a non-DBA user, another user as a DBA user. and then you should log in and you should create tables and you should look at data dictionary views. That is what your most important task is. You are going to find out, number one, total number of objects in your schema and your database. Okay, in your own schema, SC. I'm just putting a short form there. Total number of objects in your database. Total number of tables in your schema and in your database. So you know which view to go and which view to select from. Total number of views. Or not just the total number of views, the actual views. And then I would like you to find out the user with largest number of tables. In your database, I want you to find out a user with the largest number of tables. How would you do this? Maximum count. So I want you to write an SQL statement for that. And I want you to tell me the name of that user who has the maximum number of tables, and maybe if you can tell me the total number of tables owned by that user, that would also be great. This is where you will be using count star and group by and this and that and having all that stuff. That is what you have. So I will give you a hint. You need to use the count star because it is the total number of tables, and you are going to do a group by certain users, so the owner, and then this is enough. I think this is enough of a hint for you to find out. So user with the largest number of tables, user with the largest number of views, largest number of objects. By the way, I did not mention about one data dictionary view called as user underscore objects. User underscore objects. User underscore objects is basically everything clubbed together. Views, sequences, synonyms, blah blah blah, all that stuff clubbed together is in user underscore objects. So, and DB underscore objects, and then all underscore objects. Obviously all those things will be there. So your goal is to find out answers to these. So we'll kind of stop here today. Yeah.